Welcome, witches.
I'm Jen,
I'm Candi.
and we're the Cornfield Coven.
Welcome, everybody. Today, I don't know why I just said welcome, everybody, like it's a AA meeting or a geez Louise. It's been a week. So I've wanted to do Della since I did Belle. And I think the whole reason why I wanted to do Della is because I fell down the rabbit hole of Belle. And of course, you should never believe anything you read on the internet most of the time, because somebody had said on one of the things I was reading on, wow, my English today, was that Belle and Guinness were somehow related. So that sparked a thing
Belle
for me.
and Della were related?
Yes.
Okay.
But the more I dove down the rabbit hole, there's no way in heck they were related. And Della, when I did research on her, and I did look at a couple of other podcasts that had covered her and a few YouTube videos. And then there is a book regarding, and I have that at the end of my notes and everything, that I dove into, and I really enjoyed it. But anyways, I don't know why I am so freaking drawn to crazy women who kill kids and people who wrongdo them. It's just like, I don't know. But anyways.
You really are, though. You're like our
really
very
am.
own version of Snapped.
I am. It's like, sometimes I'm like, oh man, she's evil. And then sometimes I'm like, you go, girl. You deserve that. But so I'll dive right into Della. Like I said, a lot of the things I was looking up on her, some things kind of contradicted each other, and some things just the timelines didn't match. But when I was on YouTube, a lot of the short videos that I watched, they even said the same thing, that the way documents were taken back in 1908 to like the time she was convicted in 1925, a lot of things weren't documented. As she was arrested, it became better documented, but in between there. And all I have to say is, between Della and a couple other ladies that I have covered, insurance fraud. These people made bank off insurance. Like I say insurance fraud because they were the killers, and then they were making money on these people, like their loved ones. But okay, so also
that's interesting because I have a big case coming up that is big insurance fraud.
I just
and same time period. So
see, documentation, they needed computers back then. Also, Della Sorensen, during her time period, during her reign of murder, she was the only serial killer of Nebraska. There was murders, but they weren't serial killers. So I'm kind of like, ooh, a woman atop of a man's game. Like,
yeah.
So I'll dive right in. So Della Sorensen, her maiden name was Della Seidel. She was born in, oh God, I'm going to say this wrong, but Farwell, Nebraska. When she died, she was only 44 years old. So I'm older than her. And so I'm just like, wow. And I still think I'm 29 in my head. So I'm like, wow, she was young. But so Della was born in 1897. and like I said, there's just like brief rundowns of her. So this episode will probably be a little bit shorter just because due to information. But this case is quite fascinating. And when you hear how she kills children, it just, you want to throat punch her. That's my new word
So
lately.
you
Throat
gave
punch.
us a 1 week break from child murders,
Yeah,
is what you're
sorry. I know
telling.
how
Yeah.
we said
Okay.
we were done.
Yeah.
And then it was like, sorry, my bad.
It's okay. It's what
That's
we
okay.
do here.
My next one's got like Bonnie and Clyde vibes,
Ooh.
but less Bonnie, more Clyde. So, but anyways, so um I listened to a podcast duo, and I swear, Jen, it could have been us, but it wasn't us. I was listening to oh my gosh, Crimes and Closets. Two ladies sit in the closet and drink and talk about true crime. I was like, these chicks are
We
cool.
need to meet these
I
chicks.
know, right? I was like, hey, ladies.
I haven't heard of that one. That is exciting. Now I
And
have a new one
they,
to go listen to.
yeah, they covered Della about 4 years ago. And so, and they have a nice flow also. So, not that I want other people to like jump from us, but they were fun to listen to. So thanks to them, they even had me wanting to learn more about Della. So, anyways, Della Sorensen. So she confessed to killing people. And when they asked her why, she basically just said, they pissed me off. Well, in a cleaner fashion, probably. But she was caught for killing 7 people. But it's rumored that she may have killed many, many more because back then, arsenic poison and stuff like that wasn't documented as much. Because if you were somebody of not of well means and you were poor, they didn't do, oh my God, I just blanked out. They didn't do autopsies on you and stuff.
Right.
So, Della met her first husband, Joe, in 1915. So she was 17 years old or 18 years old. They had 2 daughters together, Margaret and Minnie, which I thought was really cute. But they lived in a farm just outside of Nebraska in a town called St. Livery, Livery, Nebraska. It's over by Farwell, about 10 minutes away. Della worked in a doctor's office for a short period of time. So, and back then, for a woman to work in an office like that in a medical field, I think she was doing pretty good for herself.
Yeah.
Especially since her picture, she's very homely looking. So she must have been super smart. But who am I to judge? But anyways, Della worked in the doctor's office, and it is believed that Joe worked on the farm. So he was a farmer, and there's not much written about that. So, farmers were needed, and farmers still to this day is a very good job to have. So, Minnie died in 1920. So she was just a couple years old, and it said she died of St. Vitus, Vitus. And Minnie died about 2 weeks later.
Wait.
Oh, excuse me. I just killed Minnie twice. Sorry, girl. Joe died 2 weeks earlier, which is weird. You lose your daughter.
Minnie died, and then 2 weeks
Mhm.
later, her husband died.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I'll get more to about that. Like, I apologize. My notes are scribbly because, man, I had a lot to write, and the squirrel in my head was not keeping up with me. So we're all going to go on this chicken scratch train ride together. But okay, so Joe dies. Now she's left with Margaret. And Joe's brother comes into town at the time because Joe had been ill and he wanted to come help out on the farm. Someone's got to do all that work.
Yeah. Yep.
So his brother came to check on him and help out. But while his brother was visiting, that's when Joe passes away. His brother decides to stay with Della to continue help around the farm. He felt bad for her and he wanted to help out. Um, it was just Della and Margaret there. No one yet knew what caused Joe's death, just that he had been ill. The brother described his sister-in-law Della as agreeable and a good cook. I don't know how.
That's what you're looking for in a woman.
I'm agreeable. Good
Not
cook.
me.
Well, my poor husband's
Sorry to my
screwed 'cause
husband.
I was gonna say I can't cook, and I'm never agreeable.
Yeah,
So,
no, not
but
so much.
so yeah, he said she was agreeable and a good cook, a good housekeeper, and pleasant when callers stopped by. So I guess
Yeah,
in
I'm not
19
any of those things. I
no,
literally have a welcome sign on my door that has all of the slashers on it, and it just says,
yes,
"You should probably leave."
yeah, not welcome, not welcome here. In 1922, Della's home was destroyed by a fire. So just like a year and a half, 2 years after her husband dies and her daughter dies, her home is destroyed by a fire, and they don't know what started it.
I'm
The
starting to
farm,
feel bad for her, but I'm also feeling like I really should not. So,
yeah. So the farm completely burned down, so she has nothing. In that same year, Della would marry Emmanuel Sorensen, hence Della Sorensen, in May of 1922. So May 23rd, 2022, she was married. Della and
1922.
not to
You were
that's
only a century off. It's fine.
oh my God. Yeah, I'm going here, people. In 1923, Emmanuel and Della had a daughter. Her name was Pauline Dolores. But at 29 days old, Pauline passes away. Not even a month old. Her cause of death was intestinal obstruction and convulsions.
Okay.
Remember that. Convulsions.
Convulsions. Okay.
So
Because
they
part of me is like, this is the early 20th century. This is when people had like 8 kids because, like, 40% of them were going to die.
I was gonna say dysteria, all those what's Oregon Trail, you died of
Yes.
dysentery. So
Yep.
yeah, all of this stuff is coming on. So they have a second daughter in 1924, and they named her Lavon. Um, that is my grandfather's name, so I was like, oh hey, I like this name. But they now live in Dannebrog. It's a Danish name for this town in Nebraska. There are only 303 people in this town. Margaret and her daughter, her daughter from her first marriage, is still alive at this time. So now she has Margaret and Lavon, and she also has the 2 children who have passed away. In April of 1925, when Lavon was only 9 years old and Della was 28 years old, Della was arrested for poisoning the neighbor's children.
Ooh.
At this point, people are now starting to question all the deaths in where did I do wrong in my notes? Anyways, so that bumps forward. But so Della starts having, so go back to when it's just her and Lavon and Margaret, but Margaret's off playing. Della would have people come over, and back then people would come over for tea, you'd sit and talk, you'd get the town gossip, whose petticoat's longer than the other petticoat, blah 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 blah. So we're gonna go back to one of her first legit known murders, and it was back we're gonna go back in time to 1918, and it's 3 years after she married Joe, her first husband. His sister was visiting from Scotia, Nebraska. Della and her sister-in-law did not quite get along. And I couldn't find her sister-in-law's name because at the end I was like, wait, why do they just keep saying sister-in-law? But anyways,
She was a woman. There's no need to keep a record of her.
there's no need of record. So they don't get along, and it's because her sister-in-law was always bringing down Della's reputation. She didn't say she was agreeable
Oh my,
or a good cook.
the horror.
The horror. So she decided she was going to kill 3 of her children. Um, Viola was her first one. Della put poison in the candy and Viola ate it. She had the convulsions and passed. Her death certificate says death by poisoning. The coroners did say no one did anything about it. So even the coroner said death by poisoning, and they were like, throw it in the pile. It's just a kid.
Like, so what they meant by that was, yes, she was poisoned, but she probably like ingested it accidentally or
Yeah.
something, is
Yeah.
what they thought. And this is
Even
her
though,
niece, right? Her
yes.
sister-in-law's daughter. So her
Yes.
niece.
I couldn't imagine. Ugh. But so I was reading this. And I'm like, so she basically flowers in the attic the kids, like the grandma would bring the donuts with the powder of arsenic on top. I was
Yeah.
like, whoo. So in the summer of 1920, 2 years later, um, Wilhelmina Weldon, who was Joe's mother, who she was either living with them or she was there for a long visit or she was just constantly popping in because when I was reading everything, she was always kind of there. But when it said who was residing in the homes, she was never listed. So she was there for a while and she got poisoned by Della. She put the poison in Wilhelmina's medicine. So she was going into different medicines because she also poisoned one of her daughters with like her cough syrup. And then her husband, Emmanuel, got sick. And he goes, well, I'm just going to go take this cough syrup that we have before I go to the doctor's. And he drinks it and he gets sick. But because it's a dosage for a child, they think that he got sick and threw it up and it didn't affect him the way it should. But in later interviews, he's like, I think I saved our child. Like I took
Yeah.
medicine and I'm like, wow, she's a bitch. Um, but she put the poison in Wilhelmina's medicine, and Della said she poisoned her because she was mean and childish. That her mother-in-law.
Yeah, that's
There was nothing they could do about um so back let's see. So Wilhelmina was visiting back then. Um Joe, and going back to her first husband, her and Joe had a fight and she said she was mad at him and so that's why she poisoned him. Della did receive
wait, she
a
poisoned Joe?
Joe, her first husband. So
Right,
this is
but
what she poisoned.
Wilhelmina was there. Is Wilhelmina
Mhm.
dead?
Not yet.
Okay.
She's just poisoning everybody. And this is how I don't realize people didn't notice she was doing these things.
And it
Is
was this is 1920 when she's poisoning Wilhelmina.
Mhm.
So this is not too long before Minnie and Joe die, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
So Wilhelmina hasn't died yet, so she's not victim number 1. That was Viola. So when she killed her niece Viola, which I mentioned earlier, I kind of dug. I was like, well, how does she kill a baby? Like, how does she kill a top? Like, back then, did they have bottles for milk? I mean, I guess they did, but they were glass, and I know only well-off to do people had. So I was like, her mom's probably breastfeeding. So how is she getting poison? So she poisoned Viola. Viola died, and then her sister-in-law was visiting again, and clearly nobody paid attention how evil Della was. Because people were still visiting her. They were still coming to the door.
Yeah.
They were still like, hey, let's have tea, girl. And she's like, yeah, I got new gossip. Come on over. Um, baby Clifford, her nephew, Della's nephew, her sister-in-law who does. So do you want me to go back some?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So hold on real quick.
So the nephew,
So
we were
thank
talking
you.
about her nephew, yeah.
Clifford, he was 4 months old. So Della was poisoning babies, the babies she killed, by putting arsenic, like a arsenic paste like on her finger. And then when the moms weren't looking, she would put the finger in the baby's mouth, like, oh my goodness, look at you suck on my finger. Oh, yes, you have. Look at your gums. Oh, yes.
Oh,
So the
that's
baby would
disgusting.
suck on the finger, and that's how. Um, so she also, I mean, Viola, Clifford, and Bessie are the two nieces and the nephew that she poisoned by putting on her niece. They were over for lunch one day because Clifford died, so they got together to like sit and mourn. And she put poison on Bessie's bread and butter. So she mixed some arsenic in with some butter and then made like buttered toast or something for her niece, and she ate it and got the convulsions.
Ugh.
And um but Bessie didn't die right away. Like um it was long and sad. Um
Oh.
let's see. I mean, she just kept poisoning people, and it was like um in the fall of 1924, right before she got arrested, she also poisoned, I'm going to say this, Arwen Knott's two children, a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And these are neighbors. It was her neighbors, his daughter's children, so the neighbor's grandchildren. She gave them chocolate with poison in it. She had gone over to their house, and the mother left the room for a minute, and she gave the chocolate with the poison. Della said it was because their father stole her wine and she wanted to get even with them. So somebody took her wine.
And
And
that's
she,
allegedly. I don't believe
like,
Della. It was probably his wine.
right? I'm just like, so, she's just petty. Eating, let's see. So they got sick, they vomited a lot, and their doctor thinks they threw up enough of the poison. Their mother did say Della had called inquiring about the children and them being unwell. So she was thinking she was poking around to find out what was going on. Della did say in a confession that her husband threw the remaining poison. Oh, so when she got caught, I'm jumping forward. Oh my gosh. So finally, Della gets caught because her other daughter, Minnie, or not Minnie, Minnie, excuse me. Minnie's gone. Margaret, all those M's, got ill again because she's trying. And it's just kind of starting to line up. So when
Like every
she,
child that comes into contact with this
yep,
woman mysteriously dies of accidental poisoning. Maybe
yep,
we should look into it.
yeah. It's like, hello. Um, yeah, because she was putting, oh God, yeah, when she did poison Minnie, she put the poison in her water. And
Minnie or Margaret? Because Minnie's dead
Minnie,
now, right?
when she killed Minnie, it was from putting it in her water.
Okay.
Um, let's see. So when she got arrested and taken in, they also, when they were giving her like a psych evaluation, how they did it back then, she was determined that she was mentally ill of a 9-year-old child. Like her mentality was of a 9-year-old child, and she was 40, in her 40s. She was
Okay, but
officially,
my daughter is that age, and
she's smart. Your
well,
kid knows better than that. I mean, she's not
yeah,
going around.
she knows that you don't poison people because they stole your toy.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, she was excuse me, not in her 40s. She was 28 when she was arrested. So she's 28 with the mentality of a 9-year-old. Um, I yeah, she's so anyways, trying to figure out where I just set my note. So she's in there. She is now they diagnosed her as a homicidal maniac. And all I can think in my head is Wednesday Addams saying that
Yeah.
in the Addams Family. I'm a homicidal maniac. What are you?
They look like everyone else.
So she was evaluated with the homicidal maniac and deemed insane by the Lunacy Commission.
All right.
I would love to be on that committee.
I am almost wondering if that should have been the name of our podcast.
Right?
The Lunacy Commission.
The Lunacy Commission. They're going around and oh gosh. So she stays there. She's there about, gosh, what did it say? She's there for a month. And after she was there for a month, her family was able to visit her. It was said that Emmanuel vowed to never marry again, and he didn't. In all the records, he didn't. He did struggle to raise their two daughters, Margaret and Levon. So he brought them to Elm Lutheran Children's Home in Elkham, Iowa. And after this, nothing is known of Margaret. Like, all information about her just stops. Levon moved to California as an adult, and she passed away in 1988. She did marry, have children, and the podcast I was listening to, the ladies, they got in contact with the great grandchild of her, and she didn't know anything about Margaret, and she just had learned about Levon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you have this weird, amazingly weird family connection. But Emmanuel passed away in 1933, 8 years after Della was admitted. He passed away from complications of diabetes. Della would remain in the hospital until her death of June 1943, and she was 44 years old. But they don't have a list of a cause of death. She's buried on the hospital grounds, and the hospital was closed in 1978, but the building is still there, and the cemetery in the back with the patients is still there also. The burial area in the hospital cemetery, the plots are labeled with small flat stones instead of headstones, but they're just small flat stones. No names, no dates or anything. It's just their patient number. And so her patient number is 5823. And so there are people that go looking for her and leave little trinkets and stuff like that.
That must have been a thing at that time, because when I covered the two institutions in Ohio, the one that was a mental hospital, I can't remember the name right now. It's slipped out of my head. They did that. There's hundreds of graves out there that are marked only with a number, but there's no records. They identified a lot of them eventually, but they did that too. They buried the patients with just the number.
Yeah. There is a newspaper article, and they basically, back in the day, the Lincoln Star, April 19th, 1925, you can go on, if you have a subscription to newspaper.com, which I'm really tempted to sign up for this, because they have uploaded every newspaper, every article, everything.
Yeah, I've done my free trial, but I've considered subscribing to. We need a joint one.
I think so, because this is pretty cool, but like, it goes in, and they don't sugarcoat it. They like straight up said, it was determined because she was deemed by the Lunacy Committee that her mental illness is where people have irrational desire to kill and harm others. And so it was determined that Della would not be charged with these cases because of her mental state. The doctor said probably this went back generations in her family and it was passed down and should have been caught sooner. And which is weird, she worked in a doctor's office. How
Yeah,
did nobody that she worked with then not have
well, and not realize that she had the mentality of a 9-year-old. I just wonder if that's a sign of the times and how mental health was looked at. They, you
yeah,
know, they weren't looking at the same things they look at today. Like, and you can be crazy and kill people. Like, serial killers don't get the insanity defense. They're insane, they're crazy, they're nutso. But, you know, the legal definition of insanity was, did you know at that time that what you were doing was morally wrong? Did you know it was ethically, did you know it was lawfully wrong? And did you understand the consequences of what you were doing?
right?
And it seems to me like if she was tried today, that wouldn't happen. But, you know, they didn't know serial killing was so taboo then. You know, it wasn't defined until I believe it was 1972,
I
when
think so.
the serial killer definition, you know, was defined after the behavioral science unit was created at the FBI. Go watch Mindhunter. Um, I'll just plug that. That show should never have been canceled.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, I don't think, I don't know. I have trouble seeing how she got through her whole life and nobody realized she had only the mentality of a 9-year-old.
see, and that's what got me, especially in a doctor's office. It just,
Yeah.
oh, so she was assigned the kitchen duties because remember, she's a good hostess.
Oh
She's
yeah.
agreeable. So this was a good job for her. A little bit later after she was there, Della wanted to talk with her doctors about why she's there. Doctors wanted her to move past, this is weird. The doctors wanted her to move past the poisonings so she could move past what she has done. The doctors said it was rare for patients with her diagnosis to ever fully recover and leave. So she kept trying to convince them, I'm healthy, I'm fine, I'm cured, you fix me. And they're like trying to tell her, you're never going to be okay.
Right.
Um, so that's where she stayed the rest of her life until she passed away. Um, so the her victims, so her first victim was Viola, and that was her first husband's sister's baby. Um, then it was her first husband, John Weldon, and then it was also it was, well, her daughter Minnie. They think so. Minnie died of a disease she had gotten, but then she poisoned Minnie, and she said it was because she was putting her out of her misery.
Ugh.
But when the doctors came out later, especially when she was on trial, and because they went down each individual person she poisoned, they were like, if she would have died of her disease, it was less painful than the convulsions and her body shutting down from the poison.
Yeah, because she used arsenic, and
Yeah.
arsenic is a
What is it?
horrible, horrible poison.
Strychnine. And then, oh, where's my note? So when she was arrested and they investigated her home and they went in, the amount of poison that she had was enough for a homeowner to have, but where is it? She went back and she purchased way more. And yeah, but then she admitted to buying more at a different pharmacy. And when the pharmacist store owner was questioned about it, he said Della bought 60 grams of strychnine, which is in full compliance of the law to buy it to kill rats. 1/15 of a grain is a fatal dose to anything. She had 60 grains, and only 1/16 of a grain could kill one person. She
Yeah.
could do a lot of harm with all of that, and well, she did. Her husband, after they arrested her, he went and threw the rest of the poison in the creek, like to get rid of it. So there was no evidence. It's
Damn, that man was devoted.
I was gonna say because he said he'd never marry again, and he didn't. And then here he is hiding her poison, and
their first daughter died in infancy as well. So
yeah,
I'm assuming that was her doing.
Yeah, and she said they asked why, and she says, well, her first husband had bought the poison, and she tried it, and it's white, odorless, and it's a bitter powder, and that's why she put it in sweets. It causes muscle spasm, cramps, stiffness in all your muscles and limbs. Many had convulsions before they died, and yeah, she needs, well,
Yeah,
they
they're
put
like,
for help.
when you think of poison, a lot of times you think, well, that's not as brutal as, some other ways that people commit murder. It
Mm-hmm.
is. Poisoning is a brutal, brutal way to die. And I'm weird and macabre, so I have actually quite a few books on it. Um, but there's a couple of really good ones out there that explain like what happens and why it's actually one of the most evil ways to kill people, because and
It's
especially if you're doing
slowly.
it slow and over
Yeah.
time, they get so sick, and it is such a prolonged, horrible, horrible death. Your body basically melts from the inside out. It's awful.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's just, I mean, I'll post when we air this episode. Um, there's pictures of everybody she killed, like them alive and looking cute. And you look at these little kid pictures and you're like, why? I mean, I don't know. She's just a disturbed woman. Um,
So
but
she killed
she
Viola,
could,
her niece, and
mm-hmm,
then Minnie, her daughter, Joe,
mm-hmm,
her husband,
mm-hmm,
Wilhelmina, her mother-in-law,
uh-huh.
and then
Clifford,
Clifford,
and then there was,
Bessie,
and then there was
her infant daughter, Paulina.
mm-hmm, and then there was a neighbor's friend, Ruth, her baby, Ruth.
Okay, so that's 8.
Oh, that is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
8, yeah.
Why does it say on all the paperwork? Anyways,
I wonder if
I
she wasn't
like
convicted of like Paulina because she was so young when she died. They couldn't really.
they couldn't, yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't
they
know.
have her listed because I just love method of murder, poisoning. I
Yeah.
mean, found mentally insane, committed to the state mental asylum. Yeah, number of victims, 8. 7 can actually convict.
Okay.
Sorry, I Googled some more. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. It's all because of petty. She looked at me wrong. I'm gonna kill her kid. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a pretty poor excuse.
She's just sick. But that's Della. And I appreciate everybody and you, Jen, for going down my squirrel rabbit trail. That's how my notes are. It's hilarious. It's like squirrel brain. But I had so much fun learning about her and listening about her. Same with Belle. Belle Guinness, like the first time I read about her, that woman stuck with me. And I think I have 4 or 5 different books about her. And Belle, I just have one on my Kindle, but I looked up all these other ones. And she's just, I mean, I don't know. Like here, I'm a people pleaser. So I'm always like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Like Jen's always saying, remember, you can say no. And I'm thinking to myself, these these women were just like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
don't go from one extreme to the other though. Okay. Like, let's temper the expectations. Let's just say, no, thank you. I'd rather not, rather than,
Right?
this bitch asked me to do something I don't want to do, so I'm gonna poison her. Let's not do that.
Well, you'll know something's weird if I offer you homemade cookies because I can't bake and I can't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I would be nervous.
I always joke, when I go to Quick Start, I love their cookies. And so like
Yes.
if I'm around people, I'm like, I made cookies. And they're like, sure you did. And then I'm like, I even borrowed the Quick Start container. Like,
Yep.
they're so kind.
Yes.
But
And we're in Iowa, guys, so it's Quick
yes,
Star here. I know
Quick
it's Quick
Start.
Trip in Minnesota and Wisconsin. It's Quick Star here.
It's funny, for the longest time I called it Quick Trip when I was over here in Iowa. And then now that I'm here, it's like I'm always Quick Start, Quick Start. And my friends in Wisconsin are like, Trip, Quick Trip. And I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna get it right. But anyways, so that's Della. Thank you everybody for listening.
Yes, thank you. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Bye, witches.
Bye, witches.